Hi everyone, welcome on board to the CATKing's Inspire series. Today we have with us Dr. Jha, who is Area Chairperson of Data Science and Technology at Somaiya Institute of Management. And amazingly, guys, you will be surprised to know that Sir has got nearly 2.5 decades of experience of teaching. So imagine you're coming with so much of learning and expertise. So please make sure you guys watch the video right till the end and learn from these insights and make sure you utilize all the tips and strategies as well. Welcome on board, sir.
Thank you very much. Let's hope that I'm able to satisfy the queries that you all have in your mind.
Definitely. So, sir, one of the most important things which comes to our mind is like, every college always talks about that, it's going to be profile based, and all of the students, when they're preparing for interviews, whether they're preparing for an IIM or an SPJain or a Somaiya or an NMIMS, everybody tells them, build your profile. So I would like to actually ask you from a panelist perspective that in an interview, what do you really look forward to in a student's profile?
Okay, I'll quickly give you a small background to these kind of things. Okay, exactly when you say profile. The aspirants or the candidates who wants to do MBA, whether a fresher or an experience, they all concentrate on what they call it as a qualifying examination. Okay, be it CAT, ZAT, NMAT, and GMAT, and so on and so forth. And they look at what would be the cutoff score for putting across it. Actually, that's not the end of the process. That's the beginning of a process. The actual process begins once the results are declared and once you are called for the interview. Now, this is the point where more than 60% in some of the institutions and for some of the courses, the weightage is given. Now, obviously, we have with us so many things to say. Okay, right? We have our past academic record that we have with us. We may have academics and beyond, which is very, very important that we need to put across it. We have some kind of an additional certifications and other aspects that we have, got over the years. It's very important to know that when you say profile based, the points that you're mentioning on a profile gives your insights to the panelist. He is able to understand what kind of aspirants he's going to look at. And depending upon the experience there of the panelists, they can see through your profile. It's a very simplest way. And then the personal interview is the time to verify whatever they have created an idea about you. So what do we need to put across in a profile based? Coming to the very pointed question that you have asked. Yes, you should show how consistent you are in your academics. That goes beyond saying. But having said that, there must be some kind of an activity that you have done. Okay. Now, if for instance, almost all the institutions, KJ Somaiya is not an exception there, give some marks for the work experience. Okay, so you have a year long experience or 2 years experience, you get some marks for your, in your merit to get into the institution. Okay, now the important point is your work experience relevant to the program that you're applying for? For example, suppose you are applying for an healthcare management and you have a work experience which says that you have got a 2 years experience in say an NGO. I'm just giving a loud example here. Now, within NGO, if that NGO happens to be in a healthcare sector, especially rural health, okay, or something like that, and if you're showcasing that, that means you already have a fair idea about what healthcare actually means. Healthcare is not a hospital. Healthcare is so many aspects, and COVID-19 has taught us everything. That's a different story.
Yes.
So here is the point: when you state that, it strikes into the minds of the panelists. Here is a guy who has done something in terms of healthcare sector, and maybe he could be best suited for that course. So this is where we want to put across it. So work experience is important, but whether your work experience is relevant or not, that's where your profile should speak. How versatile you are, that's another area which your profile should reflect. Okay. Now, it is very important again to understand that the very purpose of yours that you want to get into it it is like an index page of an textbook. So when you look at an index page, you are able to visualize what must be the content. We say don't judge the book by the cover, but index can definitely help us to understand what are the contents itself. So same way when I'm looking at the students' profile, aspirants' profiles, I get or a panelist for that matter, any experienced panelist gets a fair idea about what these aspirants have there and whether he will fit into the batch for which he is looking into. So that's something which we need to understand. I hope that answers my question to larger extent.
Definitely. So one thing which comes to mind is like, when we say it's like many a times there might be some students or candidates who do not have a very good academic background, but have really strong co-curricular and extracurricular activities. So does that actually help to bridge the gap, or is it like, no, you should be someone who's been like acing the acads only always?
It's academics and beyond, if you really ask me. But then most of the institutions, the seats are limited. And as we look at it, so there has to be some place where we need to do the cutoff. Okay. So having said, that's what I said. Your 25 to 30% is on qualifying examination. Okay. Past academic records also have a marks associated with it. Agreed. But if you are something beyond academics and beyond, and that beyond is very versatile of yours, believe me, if we get a chance to present ourselves, and I'm sure the current Gen X would agree with me, as we call them, that the people not necessarily with the high greatest of academic records are always successful. Backbenchers too excel in their life. It is only because of that one spark that they have. They need to spot that spark and present that spark at the right moment. That is where it clicks. So I won't say that only academics will be required, but as a teacher, I can't say that academics is equally not important. It has to be, because somewhere there has to be. You are in the classroom to study and give exams. So, I mean, if there were no exams, is only a fantasy which we wrote as an essay in schools.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's so true, and so good to hear from someone who's so experienced and been there for so long that you can consider and look beyond just the academics, because many a times people have this misconception that if I didn't do well in probably my graduation, I can never do an MBA. So that's not really a thing which should be pulling you back, for sure. So one more question that comes to my mind is, like, you are currently heading the data science and technology program, which is there. Now there's a lot of buzzword around this whole thing of data science. So is it a prerequisite for someone to be an engineer for this data science, or what is it that data science is all about?
Okay, if you're talking specifically about the institute which I belong to, KJ Somaiya Institute of Management, we are launching a 2 years full-time MBA Data Science and Analytics. That's what we are going to call it from the coming academic year. Well, it is not necessary that you need to be an engineer to have a insight or idea about the data. You should have that knack of looking again into that data, something which is archived for so long in your organization, and you're able to pull that out and try to suggest something which will improve the business processes or efficiency. For example, say if you have an archive record of what you exactly did for employees during a silver jubilee year, and now you're celebrating a golden jubilee. So obviously there could be some employees who were there when they were very young at a silver jubilee, and they're almost now on the verge of retirement because it's a golden jubilee of the organization. Now he would definitely expect something much more than what silver jubilee was there. So one way would be that I would go and ask them कि तो silver jubilee में था तो कैसे क्या था organization, because I am new to the second way. If the data is available in my archive, I can pull it out and understand what kind of activities that they had planned at that time, and can I add plus factor to it. So these are all the things across it. I'm just trying to put it in a very simpler term. It is not as simple as what I'm saying, that's true. But the whole thing is when you take up this kind of, it's a buzzword. There is the requirement for it. So it is actually an, I will call it as an independent kind of a thing. It's neither marketing, finance, HR. So it can fit into any of these specializations. That's one beauty of it. So whether you are in a pharma or whether you are in a hardcore manufacturing sector or in hospital management or in a retail management, you will need data scientists, you will need data analysts, because you need to predict, diagnose what has happened and predict what is expected to be in future. Well, nobody predicted what would have happened in 2020, okay, because that was a very different year altogether. So this is something which you have. So we cover up the, broadly speaking, we do have, it's a multidisciplinary cross-functional kind of a thing. So it will have a courses from technology, it will have a courses from business analytics, statistics, quantitative, qualitative techniques. It will definitely have a programming kind of a background. You don't have to be a real coder to understand, but you need to appreciate the guys who are doing lengthy programs for you to, like right now when we are interacting, there is some code running at the back. So we need to appreciate that. So there would be some kind of a programming. There could be some kind of an sector-specific analytics, as we call it, HR, this healthcare or sports and other aspects. And there has to be a functional analytics also, marketing, finance, HR. So it covers up a lot many aspects of to it, and maybe it prepares you for a better career prospect as it. That doesn't mean that specialization like finance, HR, and all are being undermined. No, they are equally important. Okay, so initial 5 years of your career, you do something very specific. Later on, you have to either way become all-rounder. So even if you have done in marketing, you will end up becoming somebody who is in HR, and even if you're doing an HR, you will end up doing something in finance. That's the way of life. But it does help you. It prepares you, and it's a buzzword. It is required.
Lovely. That was amazing insights on this entire thing of data science and how people are looking at, because I think I have heard multiple times everybody come up and say that I'm not an engineer, so I think I'm not eligible for such kind of programs across colleges and everything. But that's a very good perspective. That's all you have shared with us.
You should have that flair for numbers. That's fact.
Correct.
The flair for numbers should be there, but that doesn't mean that you should be really very good in kind of an algorithm. You should be able to appreciate that data is there for you to give you some real-time stories to work on.
Correct. That's really nice. That's really good perspective towards it. So any parting thoughts for all the students and aspirants who are preparing for all of these interviews? What is it that they should keep in mind before they step into their interviews?
Ensure that when you're writing your profile, for that matter, preparing, give it a well thought thing and put the facts in a very perfect manner. You should be able to say what was the learning that you had from those facts, because that's going to go an extra mile for you. Put your best foot forward. That's what I'm going to say about it. There is always a scope. Don't get stressed. There is nothing, the 10 minutes or 12 minutes or 15 minutes that we spend is not the end of the world. That also I would say. So, but then that's the way. So put your right foot forward, stay stress-free, make sure that you keep reading the newspapers, latest happening. Gen Next is always with on their mobile, so they keep getting those alerts. Those make sense at times. So if you're able to put that, work onto it, relax on the day of the interview, go there, put your best forward. That's it. I think.
Wow, that's amazing. So thank you so much, Dr. Jha. It was a pleasure to have you on board, and we look forward to many more such interactions with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you.